What is up, guys, and welcome back to another beautiful episode of the By the Wayside Fantasy Football Show, brought to you by the Wayside Coffee, our wonderful sponsor here in Pittsburgh. We're going to walk you through some people that are out, questionable, guys that possibly help through your tight end spill, and then my four guys to leave by the wayside today. Let's get right into it. First big name out, played against the Steelers last week, is Jacoby Brissett. It was questionable to see if he was actually going to be able to play, but it's Brian Hoyer getting the call today. Even against a weak Miami team, I'm not excited to start Hoyer, but he's good fill-in, even with T.Y. Hilton out. Marlon Mack should get a ton of work from him right now, and both of their tight ends will see action. The next big name was out. I tweeted it out, I think, on Thursday, is James Conner for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The issue with James Conner being injury-prone, I still don't stand by it, but what it comes down to is that he has a couple injury issues. Jalen Samuels will get the lion's share of the work today, and I love him for fantasy, even against a tough Rams team, because of how much Mason Rudolph is dinking and dunking. Another massive name out in fantasy is Evan Engram for the New York Giants. They play the Jets today. It's a favorable matchup, but he just can't go. I don't hate Ellison as his backup, but really the only Giants receiving person I'm excited to start is Golden Tate this week. Next, honestly, I don't think he'll ever be a Bengal again. It's A.J. Green. I mean, you can't convince me that this guy was healthy and then had a setback. I just think he's sitting out because he wants moved. But with A.J. Green's absence and Ryan Finley at quarterback, I think Tyler Boyd has a huge game, even against a team like the Baltimore Ravens. Again, with the Evan Engram thing, Sterling Shepard's out too, guys. He's still in concussion protocol. Golden Tate will have a big day. Another name to monitor, though, is Slayton. I don't love the guy for his volume, but he scores touchdowns. So if you're in a deep pinch, Slayton might be the guy for you. I'm predicting a decent day for Stephon Diggs against the Cowboys, mainly because Adam Thielen's out. Their trusty receiver. With Thielen out, you know what they're going to do. They're going to pound the rock with Dalvin Cook. Don't be surprised if both their tight ends, Kyle Rudolph and Irv Smith Jr., do get work though, but Diggs is the big name for today. Corey Davis is out as well, even though he probably wasn't starting on many of your rosters unless you were in some serious trouble. A.J. Brown's the guy there. It's plain and simple. He'll be the guy moving forward. He's the better talent, and that's just what it is. So I don't see any reason for you to worry about this Corey Davis, but if you are, there are some other receivers out there that are his level. Some guys that are questionable for today that you have to monitor up to game time, guys. First one, George Kittle. It's looking more that it's doubtful he'll play, and if you know anything about the word doubtful to questionable, it could mean anything. For the Steelers, if they say doubtful, the guy's out. For another team, doubtful could be their questionable, and questionable could be their healthy. No one really knows. If you know anything about Kittle, he's going to work his ass off to play. The problem here is, does the team really want to risk him for the future on an undefeated schedule for one game? Probably not. The second name is questionable, and it's kind of upsetting for me, Juju Smith-Schuster. We're playing the Rams. Last time he played Ramsey from Jacksonville, he did very well. I mean, he balled out. The problem with me is that Mason's just not throwing it down the field because we're getting him into a system, which means that Jalen Samuels, Deontay Johnson, and James Washington should see a big workload today, especially if Juju's out. I kind of hope he isn't out, though. That way Ramsey's on him, opens the rest of the field for everyone else. So Lamar Jackson and Marquise Hollywood-Brown are listed as questionable. Lamar Jackson with an illness, Marquise Brown with an injury. Both of them should play, and even though the Cincinnati Bengals secondary is Swiss cheese at the moment, I just don't trust anyone with Lamar at quarterback, aside from Lamar. He could throw for 600,000 yards to Marquise Brown, or throw only 15 times and rush. There's just too much danger there for me to worry about playing Marquise Brown today. Chris Herndon should finally play. Knock on wood. The dude came back from a suspension, had an injury. He's supposed to be Sam Darnold's dude. I picked him up in every league, and then it's been 2 weeks without playing. I need some actual production from this guy for me to ever consider rostering him again, so this week will be make or break for me. Le'Veon Bell's still questionable against the Giants, but he did come out, as well as head coach Adam Gase, and say that the plan is for Le'Veon Bell to play today. Up against a team that is the New York Giants, was pretty crappy before. They added Leonard Williams from the Jets. So I think that'll be an interesting matchup there, but I think Le'Veon gets you around 12 to 15 points easy. And Matt Stafford, a surprise game time decision. He's going to go through warm-ups and see how his back feels. I personally believe he will play. It's just one of those things with the Lions is they're not going to do well this season. So why do they continue to risk some of their players? They put Carey on an IR. They did a couple moves on defense. If it's me and Matt Stafford, I'm probably benching him today. Some tight ends that are still out there, guys. I mentioned it earlier. Both Colts and both Minnesota Vikings tight ends are playable today. Reason being, just don't know what's going to happen with them. T.Y.'s out for the Colts. Jacoby Brissett's out. Hoyer's a good quarterback, and he's going to find some end zone guys. On the Vikings side of the ball, with Thielen out, you just never know what's going to happen. Kirk Cousins could only throw 15 times, but hey, both those tight ends are good, Irv Smith and Kyle Rudolph. Another big name, though, that I always love is Jonnu Smith with the Titans. He was a big product coming out. Delaney Walker's kept his production level down, but with Delaney Walker hurt, I like Jonnu Smith a lot this week. And then there's Ellison for the Giants. I don't love the guy because he's burnt me in the past when I've had Evan Engram, but he'll get you like 6 to 10 points. Let's get into the guys that I think you should leave by the wayside this fantasy Sunday. The first one, even though I hope he plays, I would not be starting Juju Smith-Schuster in any format unless you do not have a viable option. I am choosing to play Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones instead of Juju. Mainly just because, 1, Juju's questionable to play at all, and 2, if he does play, he will be shadowed by Jalen Ramsey. And 3, Juju hasn't gotten the production. Now, a lot of that has to do with the fact that he's facing better corners now, so I don't want to call the guy useless in fantasy because he is opening up the field for Pittsburgh and we're winning games because of it. I just don't like Juju this week. The next guy's coming off an insane week is Kenyon Drake in this new Cardinals offense. The reason is David Johnson was perfectly cleared to play in this game. I like Kenyon Drake. They will use Kenyon Drake. Kenyon Drake did wonders for them when they needed him to. He's just not a fantasy option if David Johnson is healthy. The next one for me, I know he had a huge run last game. Damian Williams against Tennessee. You just don't know what's going to happen in the Kansas City backfield. That run could be Shady's. Patrick Mahomes is back. Tyreek Hill could take a handoff to the house. You just don't know, and for me, if you have a better option than Damian Williams, play it. Sorry, Chad. And last but not least, a lot of people are asking this question. I would wait another week to see if the Miami Dolphins have a legitimate backfield. I like Kalen Ballage out of college. I thought he was okay. Nothing crazy there. Me personally, I was kind of waiting on Myles Gaskin to get the handoff. But they traded away Drake. They have a ton of injuries. So those two guys will be fighting to see who is going to be the lead back, especially with Mark Walton suspended again. Go figure. I just leave them both on your bench, but they're definitely guys that I would want to pick up and stash just in case they come out and do something. All right, guys, that was the By the Wayside Fantasy Football segment here Sunday morning. Go out there, set your lineups. If you have questions, you know where to find me before kickoff. More and more of you each week have been asking me about people, especially when it comes to this Jacoby Brissett, Brian Hoyer thing. I love Jacoby Brissett, so I know that a lot of people out there probably got Jacoby Brissett. But let me know of your questions. Text me, DM us on Thoughts on the Bench's social media pages, and we'll see you next week. Set those lines.